It's not that Pierre Poilievre is Canada's Donald Trump. It's that he's Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan's economic vision in the 1980s was simple. Slash taxes, deregulate markets, shrink the public sector, and let private wealth trickle down. It sold a seductive story that government was the problem and the market was the answer. And for a while, it felt like it worked. Growth returned, inflation fell, greed was good, and the phones were really, really big. But underneath it all, the seeds of future inequality were planted. Wages stagnated, unions collapsed, healthcare costs exploded, wealth concentrated at the very top, and the social contract, the very idea that if you worked hard, you could build a good life, began to erode. That was the real legacy of Reaganomics. And now Pierre Poilievre wants to import it, Canadian style. Earlier this year, a small government think tank called Policy Horizons Canada published a report. It wasn't a prediction. It wasn't a government plan. It was a warning. If governments let inequality grow unchecked, if housing remains out of reach, if mobility collapses, we could face a dystopian Canada by 2040. It was a tool to make policymakers think harder, plan better, act sooner. But instead of taking that warning seriously, Pierre Poilievre grabbed the report, waved it around like it was proof of the apocalypse, and blamed it all on the Liberals. He weaponized a warning and turned it into a conspiracy. He told Canadians, look, even the government admits collapse is inevitable. But here's the crushing irony. The future Policy Horizons is warning about is the future Pierre Poilievre's own policies would make more likely. Poilievre talks a good game, but he ain't playing it. Policy Horizons asks governments to protect mobility by strengthening healthcare, housing, and education, regulating markets to prevent monopolies, protecting workers and mental health, and investing in public goods. Pierre Poilievre proposes deregulating housing and energy, slashing taxes for the wealthy, gutting public services through attrition, and selling off federal assets without affordability protections. In fact, one of the cornerstones of his housing plan is to sell public land to private developers without even requiring them to build affordable housing on it. Just a blank check to the market, no strings attached, as if the private sector left completely unchecked would magically solve an affordability crisis it helped create. Oh, and speaking of cutting public goods, gutting the CBC isn't about saving a few tax dollars. It's about clearing the field. It's about weakening a trusted national institution so that serious dissent, serious journalism, serious accountability get drowned out. And the only voices left standing are the ones shouting from the sidelines. It's not about owning the libs. It's about owning the narrative. Horizon says build resilience. Poilievre says let it burn. He's not fighting the future they warned about. He's building it brick by brick, cut by cut. Here's the reality. Both the Liberals and the Conservatives today are pro-market in their own ways. Both see private investment, infrastructure, and innovation as essential to growth. And look, let me pause and acknowledge that after 9 years of a Liberal government, it's understandable that many Canadians are frustrated. But leadership matters, and Mark Carney is not Justin Trudeau. Who leads a party shapes its priorities, its tone, and its future. And here's the difference, though, that truly matters. The Liberals under Mark Carney are at least pairing their market strategies with major investments in public goods, healthcare, housing, mental health services, indigenous infrastructure, and childcare. They recognize that markets alone don't guarantee fairness, and that prosperity without a safety net is just another form of inequality. It's not socialism, it's stability. It's the social contract Reagan forgot. This isn't about left versus right. It's about whether we've learned anything from the past 40 years. Markets are powerful. Growth matters. Profit motivates creativity. It just does. But if you don't pair markets with fairness, with public goods, affordable healthcare, affordable housing, and real labor protections, you don't get freedom. You get a gated community, and everyone else is locked outside. So yes, Pierre Poilievre sounds a little like Trump, but in the ways that matter most, in the ways that matter to you, he's Reagan. And if we don't recognize that now, if we don't fight for a market economy that protects its people, Canada risks repeating America's mistakes just when we should be building something better.